Hey guys, welcome to Red Line. I'm here with Dea, Rock, and our special guest for today. He is the Albanian king of jazz. Welcome to the show, Faton Macula. How are you
Welcome,
today?
Faton.
Good. Hi guys, how are you? Good.
Better now that you're here. Better now that you're here.
Hey, thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. It's a
sir.
pleasure. I know you for a long time.
Yes.
One thing about Faton is that he's one of the most supportive guys that I've known, and that I met, actually, because you were one of the first ones that actually supported the brand when I first came out, and you were full, ready to support as much as possible.
And for those that don't know what the brand is, can you mention it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the Sheba brand.
Sheba brand being
yeah.
represented.
But not only that, you support a lot of artists and musicians.
Absolutely.
And I want to talk about that because I feel like you do a lot of good work, which is not being fully recognized.
Mm-hmm.
And let's talk about that. But first, I want to talk about your background. You're from Kosovo,
Mm-hmm.
originally from Mitrovica. Okay.
Yeah, I was born in Mitrovica, and pretty much I was born in a music family. My dad was a piano player, not professionally, but and my sister played classical piano. We were all in music school, so in our family, jazz music was like because my dad was a jazz musician. Actually, he was one of the first one, or if the first one, who kind of played jazz as a hobby, because Kosovo and jazz was like totally nothing. It was new.
Right.
So in our house was always background music, not really ship music. We had our jazz music behind, even not or R&B or pop or any kind of music, only jazz. So
I love hearing that.
Yeah, so it was like really like I grew up with that kind of without noticing what it is, and yeah, so that was the first steps. Then I started to go to music school. My dad put me in music school.
So your father gave you the first guitar, right, at age of 8?
Yes, he got me because he played piano for himself, but he loved me to play piano, but the piano was so big. He struggled a lot to carry it everywhere and all that. He was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna do that to my son. So I'm gonna give you something that you can just carry
with you.
to carry on."
So you
That's
have
the
no
only way. So he
excuse.
got me guitar, acoustic guitar, classical guitar, and I kind of liked it. But his best friend was a teacher in in Mitrovica, a guitar teacher, and he signed me up to him. So I started there when I was
you fell in love with the guitar.
I did fall in love with the guitar, and not crazy, but I fell in love like how it sounded and all that. But then with my guitar teacher, he showed me the records of George Benson and Wes Montgomery, all these jazz giants. I was like, what is this? And I got caught up, and I thought,
So you had music in your blood, kind of waiting to be turned on as a genetic point within you,
absolutely.
in your DNA.
Yes,
That's amazing.
Yes, and it was really like the moment I started the classical school at 10.
Okay.
And even though my guitar teacher was a jazz musician, I started really to fall in love with that whole, like you said, DNA was coming out now. The whole thing with the background listen music
That's
and
important.
my dad's and all that, this whole thing was coming out right now, like from the Indura.
Yeah. It's important that you had that kind of love from the beginning, because as you go through different iterations of that passion, you're going to be challenged too. And music is an industry where before you reach that success, you're going to be challenged a couple of times.
The thing is that I never, honestly, I talk sometimes with, I never started to be a musician to be famous or rich.
Good.
Because there's a big difference when
That's
I see.
the point.
That's the point.
Yeah.
I see many, because they want to be Beyonce, they want to be this, they want to be this. For me, default thing was just to really to play like somebody that I admire, like George Benson or all these guys. And
So it was a passion.
passion. It was 100% passion.
Contribution.
There was not even 0% to a fame or on. If it comes, fine. If
It was happiness.
Huh?
Important. It was the happiness from the music.
Absolutely. Like, I mean, if it comes, you cannot say no to it. I'm not gonna say like, oh, I don't want that money. But then so that's very important to have in the beginning. And many artists to this day, they don't really have that. They really want to start
That's
right away.
a good point.
They want to become famous and rich, and there's no shortcuts. You're not gonna. If you become like American Idol famous, as you can see, like they become famous for 1 year, 2 years, then after 3 years,
die out.
You don't know where they are. Like, so it's a procedure, it's a journey. It's a journey for all. Yeah.
I love that you mentioned that because, for example, any endeavor that people take on, there's a perspective that it's this material reality. We exist right now. I'm going to be as advantageous as possible. I'm going to make a name for myself.
Yes.
And have that short-term perspective. But truly, if it's within you, you're thinking about the goal of the impact you're going to have.
Absolutely.
And you're going to shine regardless, no matter who's competing with you or wants to dim your light. It will have no effect on you. It's going to just bounce off of you.
Zero.
So
because the thing is that I was invited in, not to go back, but I came in a city that is the mecca of jazz.
Yeah.
And there are you have to compete to the highest level. So for me, there was never an issue because not that I'm cocky or confident, none of that. Because I believe that discipline is so important to practice every day.
bravo.
That's it.
Bravo.
So to this day, for me,
Consistency.
to this day, no matter my resume, to this day, I practice every day 3 to 4 hours guitar.
Wow.
Every day.
We have another musician here as well,
Yeah,
Rock.
oh, yeah.
I'm more of an artist. He's the musician, but it's still
This is kind of the same thing, actually.
it's still pretty amazing.
Type
But
of
when did you start realizing, like, all right, I have the talent. Like, this is something that I'm really good at. Like,
When other musicians told me, "Oh my God, you sound so good," and they were much better than me, and I was like 12 when I started to gig when I was like very young age, and so when they were saying like, "Oh," I thought, I know I didn't sound good at 12, but for sure. But they saw something that I was like, maybe something. Then 13, 14, then the war in Kosovo started to smell like a war. Like I was, and my dad saw that, and I don't have a brother. I have 3 sisters. I'm the youngest one, so I was very like spoiled. And so for me, for my parents to for my parents to decide to let me study in Austria, Jazz Academy was a big thing.
Art.
Wow.
Not
Yeah.
engineering, for example.
But even then, because there was no phones that available, you can talk. So to let me go alone with a bus 19 hours from Pristina to go to there, it was a big deal. To let
How old were you when you went to?
like 15.
Wow.
So I was when I went there, I enrolled for it was this producer back then. He's my brother-in-law, Enis Preševa. He was one of the biggest producers then, older than me, and he studied in Graz arrangement. So then his father died. He had to go back, but he filled my documents so I can apply for audition. So, long story short.
Look at that.
I went there. I was 15. There were 40 people for all over the world that were playing guitar from Germany, States, everywhere. Yeah. And they got only 2 people. I was one of those.
Wow.
And I was the youngest
It's meant
one.
to be.
That's
It's going
yeah.
to be.
So
So you've been playing guitar for what? Almost 40 years now?
Yeah, like a long time.
Goodness.
Yeah, like
wow.
Yeah,
that's a long time.
Yeah, I've been playing like 30 maybe, like professionally, because I started very early, and professionally, I count professionally when you start really to
do professional gigs.
You get paid.
do you remember your first gig?
I do.
And how it went?
I do, actually. It was very bad.
Why?
I feel like it's a better story than the immediate successes. What happened?
No, because I started to play, and there was a lot of cables and all that, and I got excited, and I was moving my feet too much.
Okay.
And I was so excited for moving my feet too much.
You were nervous.
Nervous and excited from wherever we're playing swing or wherever, and then the cable or extension cord something, and the whole bar went off, like the whole God. Everything.
You
went
shut
off.
it down.
Yeah, shut
basically
down,
on your first show.
literally shut down. Like, oh yeah.
Oh my God.
So everything went down, and I was like, my teacher was there. I was embarrassed. I was like, oh, like I was like, and I stopped, and I was embarrassed. So like, I left, like after, but yeah, that was bad.
Quite a good first experience.
It's a good challenging moment, I think, when you dedicate yourself to something that is bigger than yourself. Immediately, you're going to be challenged. How much do you want this?
Yes.
Can you suffer through the the embarrassment, through the unknown portions of it, through the challenges, and then you can reach that kind of sweet spot along the way too.
Man.
But jazz, out of all genres, because we have Albanian artists and they're all amazing in their own right in rap and hip hop and these more quote unquote mainstream. I don't mean that in a negative way, but just to characterize it. Jazz, you're one of the first that I've heard to break into that scene.
Yes.
Was that difficult, or did you feel alone, or did you enjoy it?
No, after I came, so I studied Graz. I started to studying Graz, and it was amazing. And then when I came back after the war, there was no jazz and all that. So you kind of like, I broke down a little bit with the whole kind of new style, new this, and that's why there I started to be on TV all the time.
Okay.
So you're one of the first pioneers, I guess, in the
There's gotta
jazz.
be.
That's a good way to put it. Yeah.
Pioneer, I would go all the way my dad.
Okay.
But
Well, I mean,
but
professionally speaking.
professionally, and to make it like more in TV and
Right.
to make it
Well, that's
like
what I
that.
mean. A pioneer is someone who's professionally playing
absolutely.
jazz. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah,
And,
because for Kosovo, you either had rock or you had hip hop.
hip hop, and
yeah.
you have some pop, some
Yeah.
pop. That
And Popolore.
Yeah.
I mean, good Popolore is good. I have
Beauty
no,
guy,
but
this guy did.
Talaba, I don't.
No.
Or Talaba,
Not
yeah.
for Talaba.
No,
Okay.
I don't. That's a different.
Different subject altogether.
I'm not going.
Let's not
I'm
get
not
into
going
that,
there. So, then I came back, and then I was like, okay, I didn't even plan it honestly, but there was this Uçuka commandant Uçukas.
Okay.
Yes,
there you
sir.
go.
Shout out to Uchika.
So I was hanging out in this place called Megahertz at that time, and the waiter says that Faton, Commandant Shkupi, shout out Ferit, name is Ferit, amazing guy. Man, he said he wants to see you. I was like, oh snap, like what? I just came, but like fresh, like Commandant
This is
Shkupi.
strange.
So he said, I went to the table. I said, hey man, I heard something people talking about you. I would like to talk to you one-on-one with you, some
Right.
plan tomorrow. Can you come to my? And I said, sure. So I went to his disco at that time. It's called Disco.
Disco, yeah.
Disco. So it was under Kores and Kores Atı. And I went there, and long story short, he was such an amazing man. This is amazing commander he was. He said, listen, man, I need help to build this place. And because there's no business really, and I don't know what to do. And so I go inside. I see like neon cars, neons, like the waitress with a gun. Or like,
Oh my
like,
God.
said,
They were ready for
That's
anything.
why
Very
that's why nobody's
authentic.
coming in
the
here.
waiter was with the gun. Like,
Yeah,
like,
I guess they were-
It was after the war, and
Yeah.
They were ready.
yeah. So I said, I know what the problem is.
They're afraid.
So I said, he didn't. He couldn't invest in something, so I said, let's change it, the name. I put it Birdland. Birdland is a very famous jazz club in New York. So I named it Birdland. So put the name on the side, Birdland, and then I said, take the neons. I'll put the lamps, small lamp, making like jazz club kind of vibe.
More mood
Yeah.
eccentric.
Yeah, and then-
So you did interior designing as well, I guess.
pretty much. But
Hire
no,
Faton for interior designing.
so then I said, I'm gonna do a first show and second show for free. Just
Okay.
I'm gonna
Just to build up the business.
there's and it was insane because Rıtıkı, Telmistanishe, they all came to film me. And after that night, he made so much money. And then the second week, it was Wednesday, he made so much money, so he paid everything what has to be done.
Yeah.
And then it became my Wednesday gig there every then. And
Wednesday
of
night.
course, I got paid, and everybody who was performing with me got paid. But it became a spot in Pristina. Everybody was waiting online
Wow,
to
okay.
come online in Birdland. It was
Oh, that's awesome.
It was the spot.
So
like everybody knew, like, oh, Birdland, because then all celebrities from acting, politician, Ramushi, everybody was coming there to hang out. Doesn't matter
So
what
And
it
it's
became
hard
the
to get a
spot.
following.
And there was
Right.
jazz for them to come to listen, kind of jazz kind of vibe. It was something new. So I don't sing. So it was a big thing to just listen instrumentals all night.
Yeah.
It was kind of thing there. So then I had guests then back then, known artists who could come in and out to sing like a guest. But that was a big thing. So that's why u konsi boom. Because of that, because it was new. It was something totally new. It was not new for New York.
And Albanians love the live music too, so it just makes it even better.
But it's not even Albanian and Kosovo. We used to play live music for a long time, but this kind of live music was
flavor of the outside world a little bit too.
American flavor.
Teleported.
Exactly.
It was the American flavor.
We love America.
Yeah.
So.
Actually, I will say European flavor. Watch this.
Okay.
Why would I say that?
Sure.
Because then as a jazz musician, all this, I thought, I studied jazz in Austria, this and that, all beautiful jazz. That's what it is. I was playing with there. Then I was invited from my mentor, somebody I looked up like since I was 16, Mark Whitfield, very famous jazz star from New York. So he saw me there in Austria, and he saw my demo. He heard my demo. He said, "You need to come to New York. You need to come to New York. You cannot stay." So then from there,
you're too talented.
So you came to New York?
No. So that's where before I went to Kosovo. So I went to Kosovo, but I still stayed on touch with him with emails.
Right.
So he kept telling me, "You have to come." So after 2 years in Kosovo,
you're dating yourself at this point. AOL, you're dating yourself on AOL.
And I was like, you have to come. 2 years in Kosovo. Then I said, you know what? I need to go to New York. I need to try. And this is honestly, being on top in Kosovo. I left to come to New York because
as
a jazz musician, as a jazz musician, New York is for everybody's dream.
That's really important.
But go ahead.
No, you mentioned that you are doing it for the art, for what's within you, and that proves it. You didn't just stay comfortable once you reached a certain point of success and fame in Kosovo.
Absolutely.
You said, "What's next? I have something else I want to contribute out there."
And do you know what really bothered me was in Kosovo and our mentality, because sometimes when I do interviews for TVs, they ask me about what do you think. I said, I think we as Albanians are very, very talented people, extremely talented.
Very true.
Very, but there's in Andembela, we are kind of lazy because I saw myself,
or confused.
Everybody around me getting kind of higher wherever they were, but I was staying the same because nobody didn't want to practice. Nobody didn't.
They didn't want to put in the work.
No work, and everybody wanted just to hang out. I was hanging out a lot, not practicing. So I got somehow lost in a nobor. It's a Google nobor. But there's so much talent though. And then after 2 years was hardcore TVs, radios, songs, and this. I was like, okay, I need to come to New York. So when I came to New York, and I started to play jazz, I realized that, okay, this is a different level of jazz. Nothing got to do with European jazz. New York is America, especially New York.
Different level, right? Completely.
Oh my God! I was like, I've been playing it higher. I thought I've been playing the wrongs all my life.
Was it an easy transition?
It was easy because I grew up with Black American music. Because jazz is, no matter what jazz is the word wherever, but it's Black American music. Yeah, it is what it is. This is I don't know who came up with the word jazz, but now it stayed there. Maybe white people came up with the word jazz.
It's important you recognize that.
Huh?
You recognize that and you say
it's
that.
the history. It's not. If you
should.
So just like hip hop.
Of course.
Yeah, but exactly like hip hop. But with hip hop, you know it. But with jazz, not many people know it. That is like really.
So talk to us about the journey when you came to New York, right? You started working. I know you work with some major artists that I'm going to mention here. You worked with Marc Anthony, Shakira, Missy Elliott, Faith Hill. Mm-hmm. How was that collaboration working with the superstars?
I had no idea because like I said, I came to New York for jazz, and pop, R&B is my secondary music that I love. I love R&B. I really do. I grew up with a lot of R&B singers, and pop. I love every kind of good music. We'll be talking, and then country music. I love everything, but jazz is my first love. But then I was performing in a jazz club, this place called Mark Cafe in 27th Street in Lexington, small club. The owner the girl was Albanian.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So I was performing there. Her husband was not, but she was Albanian. So I was performing there like a weekly gig with my jazz trios, and then one of the nights, musical director Danny from Marc Anthony was there. I didn't know who the hell. Right. I knew Marc Anthony, the name, because the fame of the TV, but I never knew really like who the musicians are, who musical director of his band is. Mm-hmm. So he tell me like listen, man. Would you come to audition for this artist, Marc Anthony, if you want? I said, oh yeah, of course. And he called me to go next day to Smash Studios to do audition. So I went there. Actually, the whole point was for me to go there just to to seal a deal because the audition was actually the gig that he saw me. He didn't want to see any more than that.
Right.
So I got the gig. Long story. So I got the gig. Once I got with him, everything else was easy because then
doors opened up.
Yeah, o Lidkas Injiri said, Mandina, the other musician the drummer was playing with Missy Elliott. Hey, Faton, come play with Missy because we need a guitar player.
Awesome.
Wow. You know. So then I ended up being in a Quad Studios in New York with Missy for 1 week.
Times Square.
Yeah. 1 week locked in.
Wow.
She said no musician's gonna go out. Do you know Fantasia, the singer?
No,
Fantasia,
Yeah,
from American
course,
Idol.
yeah.
She was there for 1 week. We all slept in the studio. And there's an album, I forgot the name of the album, but the whole album I played. And so we weren't locked in. She said, Missy was, I'll bring the food, everything. Shower, you can go to the gym there, no home.
That is discipline.
Yeah.
Wow.
Hey, and it was great.
I know those nights.
Yeah, and Quad was the place to be, and one of the biggest studios. So yeah, we after that somebody said, "Oh, Faton, can you play country music?" I said, "Yeah, I love country. I mean, I'm not. It's nothing. You don't need to be something. It's just, especially acoustic guitar and all that." So I got a session with Faith Hill, which one of the biggest country stars, and it was just connection after connection after like.
It seems like they just recognize your talent and skill, and we're like, yes, because
Probably
we need
that
your
too,
skill
and that's by default in here. It should be by default, but they also recognize my discipline.
Yeah.
I'm never late. I always go on point. I don't play with that. And I think I have to thank that to Austria. Because
with Germans,
a lot of discipline.
German discipline.
Because even though I grew up with a very disciplined, my mom and my dad, beautiful. I grew up in a really good family, but this hardcore discipline, Austria made me shape my. I remember to this day, my when I eat chocolate or anything, I put all my garbage I put in my pocket.
Yeah.
Why? Because first time I arrived in Austria in Graz, I ate the chocolate and I threw it on the floor, and the police said, Entschuldigung, come here, come here. Sorry, come here. I was a student, I was 15 and a half. Look what happened.
What did I do?
Said, give me an idea. I give my student idea, this and that. They charged me 50 shilling. 50 shilling was so much.
God.
Same like Switzerland.
And then I was since then, if you see my jacket, if I eat anything,
full of wrappers.
So that's one of the discipline. And same with the school. I went to the school straight up, on point. So they recognize on top of the talent, whatever that means, but the discipline here is very important.
Yeah.
Not to put you on the spot here. Well, Irvin, you were going to.
Yeah, I was going to
go
ask
ahead.
you, what has been some of your most memorable performances so far that you want to share with us?
Yeah. I mean, with my heroes of jazz music more than anybody else, honestly, but because as much as I love pop world and Marc Anthony and or Shakira or these are amazing artists, but I didn't grow up with them. I didn't learn from them. I didn't learn to play with people like Jimmy.
So who are those jazz?
Well, it was Jimmy Smith, one of the biggest jazz organists in the world, and I got a short gig with him, and I played with Gregory Hutchinson, all these big names probably you guys don't know, but in jazz scene I was huge, and Mark Whitfield, and I played with Ruben Rogers, all these guys that I really grew up with, and for me this was way more than to play with all the other famous world
Pop
famous
stars,
stars.
It's like you getting on the court with Michael Jordan. That's what that felt like to you.
For me, it was like that because I grew up with them. I mean, I grew up with those people, and yeah, so I didn't grow up with Marc Anthony or Shakira.
That's fine.
You work with all of these household names, though. Marc Anthony, Shakira, which I love. She's a personal favorite of mine. Missy Elliott, Faith Hill, Carl Thomas, and so many more. Mary J. Blige. I think, as you mentioned, these artists are known for their music, but also the personality that you were able to see behind the scenes too. Yeah. Were there any that you were able to bond with or create a certain relationship with that led to you increasing your skill as an artist potentially?
Not increasing the skills, but made me realize that to be humble is
beautiful.
Yeah, and none of them were including Missy, who is crazy person, but she was very humble, so I realized if these people are millionaires,
the best people tend to be.
They're humble. Who are you to show off something like?
So you learn a lot from them.
Oh my God! In that particular things or those kind of, yes, absolutely. But skills wise, no, because skills comes to different.
Oh, you already had
Levels?
this.
Yeah, or I practice and
Perfect them over
yeah,
time,
but
but-
yeah, but the life and how to look at to be as a personality, as an artist, it helped me a lot working with these people, especially also Faith Hill. These were people like so like humble, like amazing.
I resonate with that.
So tell us a little bit about the Albanian world now.
Mm-hmm.
I know you do a lot of work with Albanian musicians and
Yeah.
Albanian singers.
Yeah.
How has that been? I know you do a lot of mentorship as well within in that community. Tell us a little bit about that, and how do you promote Albanian artists?
I don't even try to promote. I don't. That's not my plan. It's not like I'm doing it something. But when they come to me, all I do, the minimum what should any human being do, in this case Albanian, should just forward the connection or do that.
Yeah.
And if I don't do it, then it's like. But I make sure that the person who I talk, they are really serious about it. Because I cannot forward you to producers or. If you're not gonna pick up the phone, or you're not gonna.
That's a good point.
So I had just a few hours. Like I forward it, and I give some advice and send it to some big names to work with producers. So some work, some didn't want to work. Then they showed laziness and. Not need to mention names.
No,
No.
I mean you could if you want to. Yeah.
No.
It's fine.
No. So it's just like that. But working with Albanians in general, with artists like singers and all that is good because, like I said, we are very talented people.
Mm-hmm.
And honestly, like
Facts.
for me, I'm not when I play guitar. This I think I told you. I've never considered myself just to play guitar. Like, I work for my name and as an artist for a long time. So I don't just play guitar. So that's why when I perform, when we perform with Dafina and all, we did, it was always like, it was, the magazine was like, Dafina perform Andrusha and Faton. And why? Because, first of all, as a jazz musician, you have different knowledge of music.
Mm-hmm.
Different knowledge of harmonies, different knowledge of everything, where it goes. So when you meet artists like Dafina, who is a really good singer, actually, and then you give some nice harmonies, which in Kosovo, and we used to give those, I'm going to say just like theoretically, major and minor, 2 chords, and they get carried away. They write 100 songs with those 2 chords. Yeah. And then you find artists like Dafina, you play some more like smooth chords, and they're like, ooh, I like, and the real talent comes out. And that's why they were reaching out to me, and we started to collaborate with a lot of artists like that.
Because it's always good to start from the ground up when you're working in a studio with an artist too.
Yeah,
and somebody talented like that too who can.
Yeah, but at the moment, people like that who have really good voice or soulful voice, they need nice harmonies, and that's what jazz teaches you, and even in church music, they teach you like that. Everything come together, like blues, jazz, church. So they teach you with harmonies and all that. So that's why I got a really good connection with and a collaboration with Albanian known. So.
Now you play like the guitar, but picking up a Çifteli or say a more rock-based guitar, could you just pick that up today too and start going, or is it a lot different than what you normally play?
Bass is something else, but I do play bass because there's similarity a lot. I can play Çifteli a little bit, yeah. There's similarity because not really big. There is and there is not, because Çifteli has 2 strings, and they are like very thin and different than guitar. But I can pull it off because once you get on holder, it will all that. Bass, I can play bass, and the rock music, of course, I play rock.
Okay. So that you're collaborating all those bits and pieces of also Albanian culture that could be interpreted through the music. But also speaking about Albanian music, I'm not sure if you are in the scene or aware of different trends happening. Most likely you are, coming out of Albania and Kosovo right now. What would you suggest as a word of advice for the music scene back home in terms of it becoming more open or collaborative, or changing its rhythms and beats? Because I feel like in the past 2 years I've been hearing the same songs on repeats.
I think that's a very good question. Actually, I think they should start to have some more knowledge about music, to be knowledgeable about, like you said, open-minded, but more styles of music, because there's it's true. So when I hear some songs now, they sound so the same.
Everything's so watered
And
down.
they're great artists with so much capacity, of course.
Absolutely.
We
Artists
both
are great.
understand that.
I mean, I'm not even taking that away, but it's sometimes the same rhythm,
same song.
art.
Yeah.
I'm like, ooh, like what?
What's going to change?
Right when it's like even, and there's 3 minutes gone. It's the same thing.
So, are you saying there's a stagnant now with Albanian music, where I think we're kind of stuck in the same beat, same type of
Or we follow
style?
trends too
The
much.
only reason why it's stuck because audience are buying it, and why would you change it? Why would I? They don't want. They get money from it.
They're too
And
comfortable now.
They get comfortable like that.
Yeah,
but
but,
you know, not right. It's
Yeah.
not right, and nobody's stepping up.
Yeah,
to
like in
say-
USA, everything changes after 1 year, 2 years. There's already a new sound, a new this, a new that.
From what I sense, it seems that many of them are just focusing on what they think is going to be bought instead of encouraging their own new ideas to be
Oh
on the
yeah,
scene.
no, absolutely.
So it's become very material, very market-like, the whole music scene, and you can sense that when you listen
Absolutely.
to it as well.
Because it's funny because when with all a lot of non-Albanians, Kosovo singers, whatever, when we hanged out in studio or worked on the gigs, or when we listened to the song, oh, that's my style. Totally different what they actually
Playing.
Produce or-
perform.
So that shows a lot. That
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying. So
So they're following the money. They're not.
the default thing for them is those real artists who really are. It's a really good music. Like, but the music business,
Right.
is
It's a business.
like,
Yeah.
which I'm not mad. I'm not.
Right.
I never listen. For me, like till you make a living from music, good music, I can't. Even if it's not my kind of,
Right.
it doesn't matter.
Right.
I have respect for that, and I respect that.
Same.
But when it's the bad music, like
Irvine mentioned a good point, the whole like following the money thing. But there's two parts to that. You do have to have your bread and butter to be able to survive, and back home it can be difficult in different ways as well. But how do you do that while remaining authentic to yourself and to your art form too?
very good.
That's a good question.
That's very, 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 very good.
There's no answer to
We
that.
should at some people for his answer.
What do you think?
I think, honestly, it again comes to how much you really love what you do. It really comes to how much you really love what you do. It doesn't matter. But I understand, but it will never be the case for somebody who really loves music or art to be like, he or she will never have problem med honger book club.
Principle.
Eller Chan book club. If he's true to himself, it won't bother him.
And do you think more kids should pick up instruments now in like Albania and Kosovo? Do you think they should be picking up the instruments more and learning more deep-rooted music like you're doing with jazz and
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
because I feel like there's a shortage in that. I don't really see too many guitarists and
They don't have, they have no idea what they're doing. They have no idea
Yeah.
musically what they're doing. They have no knowledge in instrument, which is sad because, like I said, talent is. We have everybody Kosovo. Like
I do think Albanians are exceptionally talented, what you were saying earlier as
very.
well in that.
absolutely, but the discipline of learning and studying
That's
is
another thing.
totally different story.
You
That's
have a
different.
common theme as a person in terms of the responsibility and humbleness that you talk about in different aspects of your life, whether it be your social dimension, your work, your music. It seems like you have a deep-rooted philosophy in something, and I might put you on the spot a bit. Before the show started, you showed me your prayer mat, which I found to be beautiful,
Yeah.
in which you told me that you do your best to pray 5 times a day, and that's
Oh, yeah.
inspiring because look at the discipline in that.
That's a that's a pretty good discipline, as you because I was born Muslim but it was just by name mostly how we because
Right.
Right.
because I did things, stupid things that which in Islam is not really like recommended, but I didn't have knowledge about it. But the last 13 years I started to pray. So
That's amazing.
That's for me helped me also spiritually a lot in the music because music in a way that to play better, but it's just to how to understand life in different way,
Yeah.
like
Have
you know what I'm saying?
perspective.
Perspective.
and,
Like
for those people that don't know you, you're very positive too. So that and
absolutely.
it,
Very
yes,
positive
I mean,
person.
he knows me.
it
like-
radiates off of
yeah,
off
yeah,
of you.
and the purpose of life. You understand the purpose of
Yeah.
life. What's it?
Extremely positive. I have to say, you're one of the rare guys in this industry that is so positive.
Yeah. So okay.
But I also I know you teach guitar in New York City, right? What do you enjoy most about teaching? And can you do more of that for the Albanians who want to learn about musical instruments?
Honestly, I don't like much teaching. It's meaning I cannot teach I have the basic stuff, philostarch throwing. This is very hard. Sometimes problems because of my I don't know. Somebody can be a good can be a teacher. I'm a performer. I would love to teach for people who are a little bit in advance.
It's only advanced teachings.
I do teach kids too, but always I tell even to the parents or all of that. This is not my bread and butter or something like that. But if it happens like that, some friends have a kid or this and that. If I teach, I tell them the truth. This is not my passion to teach because I can't.
That makes sense.
Yeah, no,
it's not easy honest. To teach either.
An astronaut wants to be in space, not necessarily always in a classroom, but both have their importance in their own dimension.
Yes. So it's like, but it's an advance a little bit. This is different because I like challenge. I like then it's challenge. Like, okay, we can go a little more theory. We can go this. We can do this. We can do that.
Teaches you things too.
No doubt, you learn a lot from that too. You honestly, you brought it up. You can learn really like while you teach. Sometimes you're like, while you're explaining something, like, oh, that's what it is. Yeah,
nice.
So, what are some of your upcoming projects or collaborations that you want to share with us?
Actually, the curse of being an artist sometimes is being too much like شو ثوت كنتم
Friendship.
Huh?
Ship.
Ship, no, mu kam përzi kretos.
Spanish.
Like, it's not the word picky, but you like it
Selective?
Overthink?
Maybe become pigeonholed in
analyze
a
it, I can do better because I have so many songs, and then you go like, I think this can go more.
I know exactly what you mean.
Self-critical in perfecting your art.
Yeah,
there you go.
It's just bad. I don't know, but you can have 100 songs in your files right now.
I'm not
even
going there how many songs,
but
that's right.
You're evolving as an artist too, so your art from 2 years ago is going to be different. It might be good, it might be cringe, but
yes,
who knows?
but yeah, it's true. And many songs, there's many truth about what you said, but yeah, like the song, I was just telling him I have a song coming out with Kresha, and it's like, I did the song I did like a year ago. And it's really good feel song, really like. And there's an artist called Evan Coles, American guy.
And you're both from Mitrovica, which is both from Mitrovica.
We're both from Mitrovica, yeah. So and Kresha plays too. So
yeah, he does.
God bless.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So
when is that coming out? Is that coming out or we don't know?
No. It's coming out finally
because greatness takes time.
It's being cooked in the oven.
Yes, but he has to finish his another 8 bars.
Okay.
So the moment he finished the 8 bars, which supposed to be should be in 2 weeks.
But what about this song? Is it something that you're listening to now and thinking, I would have done it differently if I could, or?
I'm trying to get away from that
mentality
because every time I listen, I say, "Oh snap! I think it's all good." I might add some other guitar rhythm behind, but yeah. So
I'm a poet and a writer and a novelist myself. So whenever I look at my poetry, I've tried to exercise my brain. When I create my art, and you may relate to this in us as well, it's no longer yours. You're putting it out there for the world to feel and experience and have their interpretation of it. That's it. I've done my part. Now I move forward to something else, and that's an evolution within itself.
That would be great if I could do that. It's really hard to do that because then you go a little bit. Let me just
a little bit.
Yeah, but then So
it's like you hear one little thing wrong.
Oh my God!
What do you think about your songs that are on YouTube now?
Sometimes when I listen to like my beginner stuff, I'm like, oh man, what was I thinking? What did I say here? Why did I do this? But then it all goes with the timing and the moment you're in too. You know, you have a certain feeling, and that's why you write that song. That's why you do that thing at that time.
Yes, I agree. But
everything changes with time.
As an artist, sometimes you're like, nah, man. But technically, you're right. You should leave it because it was like the moment, the time, and blah blah. But you're like perfection. That's the word. Perfectionism. I'm so too much perfectionism. It affects. Actually,
your
ability to release the song.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's too much like, oh my God, like leave it alone. Just let it.
I agree.
Record it, finish. Yeah. Sounds good. Move on.
That's how I started doing it. I'm like, I just got to record it, post it.
I'm trying not to do that because
it's tough.
So it's going to be that and something we're working with Albania Ramosa. We're working something.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, something actually and something's gonna come up in social media
Soon?
Nice.
In social media, it's gonna come very soon.
Okay.
Just like a
teaser?
teaser for not what we're doing, but teaser for just for we'll see.
That's
We'll
a
see.
that's a good
Doesn't
Keep
partnership.
the
wanna share-
suspense
doesn't
going.
wanna share
Heard it
anything.
here.
Yeah.
That's okay. Sometimes it's better though. Sometimes it's better to keep the suspense for us.
Yeah.
So, coming to New York, developing your career, your identity as a musician and artist in the Albanian community, do you have people that reach out to you for guidance and mentorship? And how does that like?
Yeah, but I mostly like my music is jazz music, mostly with Americans. So but I do have those that reach out, and honestly I try my best to help as much as I can, and
Right.
and with all the connection that I have, I try my best. But I also cannot. I always see how much the person is interested and how hungry that person is. If he just
That's a
this
good
is not
point.
this
That's a
is
good
not
point, yeah.
this is a different mentality. I cannot send them to people who are
Different level.
different level. You go
Yeah.
with a mentality like, hey, no, there's no, you have to go. you
So they
know
have
what
to
I mean?
show. They have to show you that they're serious, and before
That's
you
a
can
good
make
point.
a recommendation. you know.
Forget yes, you have to
Yeah.
show. I'm nobody to show me. It's up to you, bro. Like I'm always telling
No,
them,
Show
but
yourself,
you put your
yeah.
always
name
tell-
out there, right? So,
yeah, like when somebody like you don't have to show me nothing. You don't owe me nothing. I don't owe you nothing. But if you want me to talk to somebody, you cannot go with that mentality. Like no.
I like that because you're not just introducing people out of connections that you have, but you're looking at their dependability, their work ethic. What does it mean to you to see a responsible person? What are those characteristics you look for?
Because I don't want this. New York already is a stressful city, and
Right.
I don't. I had a couple of bad experiences being stressful with art that I sent somebody to some people that I got stressed out for a weird reason, like
A reason I shouldn't even be upset for. Yeah,
be in the middle.
Why
man.
they make you look bad?
Yeah.
Yeah.
that happens.
And
a
I
lot.
get a phone call like, yo, what's up with this?
What's up with your boy?
Well, like, what's up with the boy?
That's why I don't-
That's what I mean. What I mean.
That's
like,
what I said to you. What's up with your boy?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one. It's a good one. So yeah, it was like I was like, damn, like so I don't. New York is very stressful. I don't want.
Yeah.
You don't say.
No, if you come to me, and I'm not saying to come to me in humbleness because I'm somebody. No. But I'm humble. You be humble. Show me you're hungry. So I can tell them this kid is really hungry. Then I can just go, bro. There you go, and take it from there.
Yeah.
But
So I feel like once you recognize talent, you truly try to push them and,
Yes.
and make
That's a good
those
point.
connections.
Absolutely.
So
I mean,
that's important.
Yes.
He was one of the
distinguish.
first Albanian artists that ever messaged me and was like, "You're doing a good job." And he was
Yes.
one of the first people, and I was like,
yes,
"You know what?
yes.
Real recognizes real.
Yeah.
Yeah,
There
because
you go.
I like your swag. I like, and even though that
He's wearing a leather jacket in 90-degree weather.
No, this
so,
is like
yeah.
a few years back. And I like your swag. I like you had no accent. You had because obviously I didn't that time I didn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah."
So
that you
anyone
were-
with an accent is disqualified. Is what you're saying. So
Yes,
everyone
it makes a
back
big
home.
difference here when you start to sing with the accent, or no matter how good you are, like
Yeah, it's
So
different.
back home in Irvine, you might have something to add to this too. In Albania, in Tiran, Pristina, and all over the Albanian diaspora, what do you think is missing in the learning of music to be able to revitalize or change the scene? Is it because we don't have enough academies that teach classical learning, or is
Yes.
it development afterwards?
yeah, they don't have enough schools.
Okay.
Not enough good teachers. They have teachers like with no knowledge really. That's just basic stuff. And they should invest money to bring teachers from New York, and I will help with that. I will really help.
Why don't you do that? Why don't you go to Albania and start opening up a school or
I thought to open
Influence-
a university.
you gotta influence the culture, man.
I,
Like a jazz
I
class.
thought about to open the jazz academy big time.
Yeah, why not?
It's out there, but
It's out there?
But it's out there. But in the meantime, it's
In
good.
due time.
Something to have a good teachers.
Right.
It honestly not even university, just good teacher. But they don't want to invest in art there, and really they don't really
What
want.
do they want to invest in?
I don't know.
And it's so
politics.
weird because you have everybody that's a leader there all come from art schools.
Yeah.
Well, Faton, we enjoyed having a conversation with you.
I
Thank you for
enjoyed being here, of course,
It was a
man, of
pleasure. You are always welcome.
Pleasure
Any
all
new
mine.
projects that you have working
I'm proud
on?
of you, first of all.
Thank
You're doing
you.
amazing. You've been doing great since I met you. Speaking of positive, also we hang because you have that good energy
Yes.
and you. I honestly, I told this in the beginning. I saw many Albanians logos and all that in my lifetime, and I always sometimes they make it too cliche and all that. He's the first one. When I saw it, I was like, oh wow, this looks
something different.
Like Apple
Yeah, I
has it
remember that
simple.
too.
Apple had it simple. Apple, you know, like he
Yeah.
made it so simple, not to be like too ooh. And I loved it, and that's why I reached out to something like that to him, and I love this. So I think you're doing an amazing job, and I hope really people see your amazing work and your
Thank you, man.
your
Thank
brand.
you. Well, thank you. I appreciate
Of
your
course.
support. You always
Thank
been
you.
there, and
Amen.
we want to support you
Thank you.
always.
Thank
And
you.
Thank you for being here, and
Thank you.
we'll see you next time.
Thank you.